You are aware that a triangle has 3 sides. And you're aware that I've given you a mathematical tool that deals with 2 of those sides. What is that mathematical tool? You all already have tan equaling opposite over adjacent. What side of the triangle is neglected by the tangent ratio? The hypotenuse is not there. Fortunately for us, people have worked out the exact same situation with tangent, but using the hypotenuse. One of those is sine. On your calculator, that is the sin button. The other one is cosine. And on your calculator, that is the cos button. So we are going to use those. All right? Sine and cos must be used if the hypotenuse is involved. So if you are doing any work that requires you to use the hypotenuse, you are going to use sine or cos. Everybody with me? All right. Now, we are going to talk about the first one, the sine ratio. Now remember, a tangent ratio is the fraction of O over A, right? The sine ratio is the fraction of O, opposite, over what?
Hypotenuse.
The hypotenuse.
I knew it.
Or O over H. Now, how do I find that? As always, it's the same way. It is the measurement across from theta divided by the measurement of the hypotenuse. Now, what are our options? What can be written across from theta? Can there be a number? Yes. Can there be an unknown? Can there be a variable? Those are the only 3. It can be blank, it can have a variable, or it can be a number. 2 of those are the same thing, aren't they? Which 2?
The variable and the letter. I forget what you said.
The blank.
The blank, that one.
All right. So you guys are smart kids. If sine uses opposite and hypotenuse, tan uses opposite and adjacent, what then must cosine use?
Opposite and hypotenuse. Or, I mean adjacent and hypotenuse.
Adjacent
I almost did.
and hypotenuse, or A over H. And that, of course, is the measurement of beside theta over the hypotenuse. Now, this cosine causes kids a lot of trouble because cosine, adjacent means beside. But isn't the hypotenuse also beside your theta?
Well, it's not a hypotenuse.
But it's not anything but the hypotenuse, is it? Can the hypotenuse change?
No.
No. No matter where I go on the triangle, is the hypotenuse always the same? Yeah. So we don't ever change that one. The adjacent is the other leg that isn't the hypotenuse. Okay? Now, you guys are smart kids again. If sine and cosine use the same methodology as tan, do you think we change how we solve them from tan? No. So what do we need to solve every trig question?
One of them. So an angle and a number, basically.
Before that even.
A triangle.
Triangle and a theta and a side, or, you said it already.
What, the angle and a number?
Oh, no, that was theta inside. That's what she said.
Yeah.
What's the other way we can do our math?
Or,
Two sides.
yeah, 2 sides.
As long as I have theta, or I lie, as long as I have a triangle and 2 pieces of information, one of them being a side, can I do trig? Yes. So let's see if we really can. This is a fake math word. It doesn't mean anything. It's pronounced SOHCAHTOA. When I was in grade 10, I thought that word sounded Japanese. And I said, I'm going to do SOHCAHTOA like I'm a ninja. And I went, SOHCAHTOA! Which is, of course, horribly racist. But I was 15, and I thought it was funny. Trig is what made math work for me. It's my favorite thing. You don't have to like it. But I do. So this is how you remember it. But you don't have to remember it, do you? Because we give you it on the data booklet. Sine deals with opposite and hypotenuse. Cos deals with adjacent and hypotenuse. And tan deals with opposite and adjacent. Now, you guys are very, very smart young people.
Thanks.
When I leave this much blank white space, what are we doing?
Writing.
We're drawing something there. Everybody draw me a nice triangle. Put the 90 degree right there. Now, let's see if you listened 2 lessons ago. Please label the sides of the triangle properly according to Mrs. Bad Crumble's version of Pythagoras. Do you understand what I just said? Label the sides properly, because there's a specific way we label sides, the way you learned Pythagoras. Not the way I taught you Pythagoras, the way you learned before me. Clear? Go. I will wait 10 seconds because it will only require you 10 seconds to write 3 letters. No, of course not. That's just the name I give to every elementary school teacher before me. I call them all Mrs. Bad Crumble.
What were the middle school teachers? What do you call them?
Mrs. Bad Crumble.
What about Mr.?
Mrs. Bad Crumble.
What would you call grade 9 teachers?
They are high school teachers.
He is also. A
They get called by their name.
What if you don't know them?
I don't care.
We'll find out their name.
The only math teachers I care about are the people in this building whose names I know.
Yes, specific set of skills.
All right, so label these. What letter must go here?
I have no idea.
What kind of C? Lowercase c, lil c. Because sides are labeled with little letters, and Mrs. Bad Crumble always taught you that the hypotenuse was C. Do A and B matter?
No.
No. But I bet Mrs. Bad Crumble made A the short one and B the long one.
So it goes in order.
But it doesn't matter. Now, label the angles correctly, the way I taught you. How do you label angles? Don't say it out loud, just do it. Again, 10 seconds. I'm deafened by the sounds of pencil scratching. What is this angle's name? This one. Big C. Why, Nick? Because it's across from little c. What's the word we use in this unit instead of across? Opposite. Thank you, Navjot. I could barely see you pulling the strings. Or was it Vanessa that saved you? Navjot was just looking at you to stress you out? Navjot, that's not the way to be with your buddy. So what does that make this corner? Capital B. And what does that make this corner? Capital A. Everybody with me? Great. Now your job is to tell me what sine A, cos A, and tan A are. Please fill them in. I'll give you a hint. They're all fractions. Something goes on top in the numerator spot. Something goes on the bottom in the denominator spot. Go. When you finish that in the 10 seconds that should take you, do the same thing for B. Oh, Mr. Myers. Would anybody wish to volunteer their answers? Alicia. Pardon me? S over A. But there's no S's. Sine is opposite and hypotenuse. So what is opposite of A? Little a. And what is the hypotenuse? Little c. Good job. Way to recover. What is adjacent to A?
B.
Little b. What is the hypotenuse? C, because the hypotenuse never changes. What is opposite to A? Little a. And what is adjacent?
B.
Little b. Now, we are at a different theta, which means what changes? O, A, or H? Only O and A. So for B, what's opposite?
B.
Little b. Over what?
So what were we going to say?
C. Why? Because C is the hypotenuse, and the hypotenuse never changes. What's cosine?
A over C.
A over C. And what's tan of B?
B.
B over A. Does everybody understand trig? Using it is different, but you can't use it if you don't understand the theory. What is the only thing you have to remember? Opposite means across. Hypotenuse is hypotenuse. Adjacent is the other guy. Okay? Do you have to know any other math that is new to you? No, because your calculator does everything else, and you learned algebra in the 9th grade. Right? So, let's see. Here's a trig question. What does every trig question need? What's the first thing you need to do a trig question?
Triangle.
A triangle. Do I have it?
Yes.
Great, we're halfway there. What's the second thing you need to do a trig question?
Preferably an angle.
An angle and a side or two sides. Do I have those things? I do. Do I have an angle, which we call theta?
Sort of.
What is it? 12.
In the middle.
Yeah, I don't know why it's up there.
I wasn't sure which side it was on.
Down
I think it was
here.
probably on the bottom, yeah.
If 12 is my theta, that's where I'm starting from, yes? So here I am. What is that? Opposite. So my opposite is x. What is this? It's an hypotenuse, which is 25. So what of the three options am I going to be using?
I won't answer.
Sine. Sine theta equals O over H. Sine of 12 equals x over 25. How do I solve that? Multiplication. I'm not going to solve it. You are. Is that clear? Everybody good? Everybody's good? You don't have to solve it yet. We're going to set up all three. Then we're going to do our work. Look at the next one. Do I have a triangle?
Wait.
It's on the next page for you guys. Do I have a triangle?
Jeff,
Indeedly-do.
is there
Does
gonna
that triangle have a theta?
be-
Indeedly-do. What is it?
19.
19. Do I have an hypotenuse?
No.
No, but there's an x there, so I'm going to be dealing with hypotenuse. So will I be using tan?
Nope.
Of course not. And what is the other side I have? I have an a, which is 40. That's all I'm writing. You're going to solve it. I'm not even going to tell you which one to use. Now let's go to this one. Do I have a theta? No, it's x. What do I have? An h of 22. And what's 13? It's an adjacent because it's beside the x, but not the hypotenuse. You guys now have 3, 6, 9 buttons to press on your calculator. The work's already been done for you. You got to decide what to do, fill it in. It should take about a minute. I, of course, will be writing out all of my work. 25 sine 12 equals. Then I will punch that into my calculator. Who has an answer for me?
I do.
Pardon? Look at your answer again. 5.2 or 5.19. Excellent. So x equals 5.2.
I got it right.
If you attempted it, did you get it right? If you wrote it down correctly but didn't get 5.2, then what is your most likely culprit?
Not having your calculator on degree.
You're not in degree mode. Okay? Now listen to me. If you write this on a test and get a different answer, but you have set it up correctly, can I give you most of your marks? So I'll ask again, do you need to show me work? Yes, because if you at your test still are forgetting to check for radians, that you're in the degree mode, still, and you put down the total wrong answer there, have I done the key in R or G mode?
Nope.
No, I've only done the key in degree mode because that's what you're supposed to do. Do I know what this answer is if you're in R mode? Of course not. So if you don't show me your work, you put a totally weird out answer, what am I going to give you?
0.
Darn tootin'. Go to the next one. Now, this one I was mean. What are you going to use with O, H, and A, or theta, H, and A? Cos. Cos of 19 equals A 40 over X. When the X is on the bottom, what do? Divide. So it's 40 divided by cos 19 to get X. And X is, who has an answer for me?
42.3.
42.3. Gouda?
Swiss.
And finally over here, what's weird over here? There's no theta. But we know how to deal with tan when there was no theta. What did we use? Shift tan. So if everything else is the same with cos and theta, except we're working with the hypotenuse, do you think everything else is the same with Shift, cos, and shift tan, or shift sine? Yep. So since I have h and a, I know I'm doing cos. But since I need an angle, I got to do shift cos. Shift cos of x is a 13 over 22. Do you remember how I showed you to get that in one step? What math is this? What math is happening right here? Where's my little light? It appears to have disappeared. There we go. What is this math right here? Divided by. So this is shift cos bracket 13 divided by 22. And what is it, Felix? 53.8. And we like our degrees to be to the nearest degree. So it is 54 degrees. Everybody cool? Everybody cool? All right. So I'm going to leave you with one job, and then you're going to be doing your homework. Oops.
Miss Margaret.
Not that page.
But I wanted to do Miss Butter.
Your next page should say solving triangles, yes? Or does it have Miss Margarine?
It has a Miss Margaret.
Okay, we're going to leave it there. Miss Margarine, the number on the bottom of Miss Margarine's page is 227.
Yep.
Excellent. So what I want for you guys to do now is page 95 and 101. That is your work for right now. Okay? Now I have to check because I think there's something in there that you might have to wait a second on.
I think we can do it.
Oh, that one's cool.
Sometime.
Caw-caw! 3 to 5. That's good. 7. That's good. 12. 10. Ladies and gentlemen, in page 101, don't do number 11
I'm going to
yet.
do it.
Well, you can.
I can't stop me.
I know that. Don't do number 11 yet because I haven't shown you what the words in the question mean. Most of you could probably figure it out, but don't, because it's in your notes in a little bit, okay? Everybody cool? So page 95, 4, 5, 6, 10. Page 101, 3, 4, 5, 7, 10, and 12.
That's not. What's.
Angle of inclination. I haven't explained it yet.
Oh, yeah.
Right? You know what it is, and you can figure it out.
Well, it's
But-
common sense, I guess. The only